Hi, students. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If you can see the screen, can I get a Y in the chat box, students? If the screen is visible from your end, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? Yeah. So, students, in today's class, what we are eventually focusing is the financial analysis of Leothayre and Obalink, the competitors. So, you will get an understanding of how the applications are done. Students, if you observe, the first thing here is this time the financial statements look very, very simple. They have not given much information with regards to other factors. It looks very simple. It looks very, very easier to understand also. But the only thing that we have to use the business knowledge, the commercial thinking is important. Now you see here, students, Leothayre has a growth of 5.88, but Oberlink has grown by 12.94. Okay, it's very, very clear for us. They have grown by 9.84. Now, students, you have to understand one thing. They compete with the same contract and has a business for slightly longer also. So I'll write down here, students. They are competing with the contract. So I'll write down here, Oberlink may have a better business growth due to connectivity and long-term establishment as well. Because students, they would have been in the industry for a long time. They're bigger than us also, students, considering the scaling. Now, if you observe, you see Oberlink is 1,000, their share capital value. We are 800. They are little big in size also in the revenue also, students. So that is the ideation here. Now, students, if you observe one more thing that has correlation function towards the revenue is the operating cost. Now, if you observe here, the operating costs are reducing, but Oberlink's operating cost is increasing. I have a firm doubt with regards to the internal quality concepts. Because students, we don't have any information with regards to the quality factors given in this case study. So I'll write down here, there is a decrease. There is a decrease in the operating expenses. Why? Can be due to poor quality. Correct, no, students? We don't have rocket launching sectors also. And also supplier issues, because suppliers are very, very important in this case. Okay. And if you see our competitor, they have a very good growth because 5.84 growth is also there. And their revenue is also growing according to the size of their expenses also. So in that case, there is a better understanding that Oberlink has better satellite projects comparatively with our business also. And students, I can also write down a new perspective. It may not be correct, but it's just a perspective, students. There can be new segments designed as well. Now we are going with the lower Earth orbits. Sometimes they would have gone with the, I can say, the medium Earth orbits or the geosynchronous orbits also. So they may have that advantage also. And students, can you remember there is something called the pocket set, the small satellites. So they would have explored new things which we are not exploring at the moment. Maybe we are just following the same routine again and again and again. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are able to understand that perspective? It's just a perspective, students, for your purpose. Thank you. Now, students, look at the other one, the operating profit. If you see, operating profits are 28.98, but when it comes to the profit before tax, students, you see there is a significant increase in the profit before tax of our organization. The rationale behind that is, students, their revenue growth has effectively contributed. So I'll write down here the operating profit growth is also higher for Obalink. Therefore, in that case, this can be a factor to be considered. Now, students, finance cost, you see, students, 28.57 and here 6.38. So again, if you observe, students, the interest cost is also higher since the borrowing rates may be high. Interest rates may be high. There's a gearing risk in this case also, students, for your understanding. Then the profit before tax, there is a significant change in the growth, which is higher. And tax profit for the year. So all these things I can effectively merge together, students, because it is correlated. Now, students, property, plant and equipment, you observe here, students, the property, plant and equipment, our company has invested, but this company has invested less compared with us. So I'll write down here, what happened to the investments? No idea given. Why there is no growth in revenue? Can there be wrong investment, students? Growth in revenue. Students, I'll just write down here, within brackets, wrong investment decisions. That can happen, students, sometimes. Sometimes you would have made a decision to introduce a new service range, but it would have not gone well. The goodwill is zero, students. There is no business combinations. You have not acquired any businesses during this period. Other intangible asset, that is the research and development cost. These are very high for Obalink, which indicates the company has the ability to expand. And also, they have invested in research, because this is a very, very important perspective. Inventory, students, it's going in the same base. Receivable is also going in the same base. But there is a significant increase in the bank balance for this company, that is our company. And we need to be very much convinced why they are not doing very well, because we can eventually feel one thing, the share prices are going down. Correct, no, students? We can feel that very, very transparently. The share prices have eventually fallen down for this organization. And you have to understand one more thing, students. It is very, very important and critical that we are able to evaluate this perspective properly in order to understand the perspective. So I'll write down here. Just I'll merge this and I'll write down here the working capital. The working capital has been managed well and it is per industry standard. It is per competitive standard, the competition, okay, competitive standards. Trade payables, there is a decrease or Obalink. Maybe they have JIT or a new lean management systems. That means they are not going for production, they are going for the demand pull. Efficiency range may be high. Students, the other one, that is Leothayre, has increased the borrowings. This is not good, students. Increase the borrowings. There needs to be information with regards to the investment strategy. With regards to the investment strategy. And students, bank balance being accumulated, there needs to be some justification. Full stop. Students, these are the growth analysis at the moment. Any questions you like to ask, you can ask me. If you're fine with this, students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students? If you're fine with this, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students? Are you okay with this, students? Can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students, if you are fine with these applications. I hope it is clear for you all at the moment. So can I give a small summary, students? A small summary. What did we understand from this application? So I'll give it here, students. Summary. A small summary here so that it will be very clear for you. Summary. The company has not innovated new service lines. Significant increase in the borrowings. So I'll write down here, students, financial risk. Also, there is no proper evidences with regards to the future developments. In that case, there is a massive challenge for the organization. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are fine with this perspective? Any questions you like to ask, you can ask me, students. But if you are fine with that, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? Thank you. Thank you very much. Now coming to the next one, which is the ratio analysis, students. Now, students, ratio, again, the operating profit margins are in 30s range. And students, you have to understand this is highly capital investment oriented business. So you have to maintain these margins properly. Now you see here 30, this one is 31, 35, this one is 36. Competitive margin ranges are going. And you see here, Oberlink's net profit has eventually increased. But if you see Leothayre is effectively having an issue with their debt because they have borrowed significantly. So they have finance costs to be paid. But if you see Oberlink, they are managing their finances properly. And also Oberlink is improving the efficiency also by reducing the trade payables, everything. So students, I just want to connect it so that it will be clear. The operational profit margins are mostly competitive, are mostly what students competitive. Therefore, in that case, we can understand the contracts are very challenging. Challenging because if there is a contract, it's very challenging. So I'll write down here, ethical issues can arise. Ethical issues can arise. Ethical issues can, what students, arise. So just keep that in mind. Net profit margin, students. Students, you observe in the net profit margin properly. If you see this very clearly, you will understand that Oberlink has outperformed the company, mainly due to proper financial management. Students, mainly due to proper financial management and efficiency in the operations. Just keep that in mind. Students, you see ROC also has the implication with regards to the application of this. So again, I'll just connect this because those things are going with the ROC, ROE, all are profitability for the investment returns. But if you see everything is going at a competitive range, but Oberlink is doing better than others. Even the asset turnover, students, just I'll connect it there because even you see that is also at the same range, capital investment oriented business, higher level of investments needed. You can't just do this business because you need money to invest in this type of business. Now, if you observe here, students, we have already reached the optimum level, which is 50%. Because if you see, the bank has more investments at the moment. But if you observe Oberlink, they are effectively handling the financial horses properly, and the interest rate also would have been done very well. The gearing risk looks very higher. The gearing risk look very higher for, I can effectively say, Leothayre. Therefore, there is a challenge with regards to interest also. because interest is a big challenge here. Now, why I'm saying interest is a challenge is look at the interest cover ratio, students, just for your understanding. It's only 1.46 times. If something happens to our organizational revenue, if there's a decline in the revenue, eventually the interest cover will become less. That means you will not have the capacity to pay the interest also on time. So I'll write down here, the industry risk is high. Since the beta is more than one students. That is very, very clear. Therefore, in that case, this can be a major challenge. So that is one thing to consider. A current ratio, quick ratio, students, if you observe this industry, again, I told you, you can't go with 2:1, you can't go with 1:1. But since the competitive ranges are the same, I can just say here, the current ratio is also showing the industry risk. It's highly sensitive industry risk. Therefore, there is a high risk in case of fall in revenue. Tech industry, no students, you are very much aware. Students, you see here, the advantage we have is you can delay the payables for a long time. Because students, these payables who provide us supply items, they are dependent on us. Because very few people make these rocket items, everything. So they give us long period of time, project based. Because students, if you observe the rocket launching and the satellite launching generally takes long time. But if you see in the receivable days, we collect money very fast. From our clients, we take money fast, but when it comes to the payable, we slowly pay them. Again, I'm repeating, students, when it comes to the payable, we take time and paying them. And also, students, one more thing, maybe they are from emerging economies, not like rich countries. So since they are from emerging economies, we have higher bargaining power also. So students, I'll just write down in this case, I'll just correlate it so that it will be easier for you all. The biggest advantage in this industry is having the power over the supplier. Since they are dependent on these companies. Therefore, in that case, the company needs to be much aware of the advantage. Also, they collect the cash immediately from the clients. Therefore, the risk is low. Students, dividend payout, they always give this. It is having no relationship with the case study. They always give this. We have always seen this trend repeating in every time. So I'll write down here. The dividend payout also provides a better clarity for the company, since they have a retention on profit for future projects. Full stop. So students, you see this time they have not complicated the financial analysis much for the case study. This time they have made it very easier, very simple to understand. So I'm not feel any difficulty at the moment, students, with the ratio analysis. Any questions you like to ask, you can ask me, students. But in summary, I can say Oberlink is performing well. Summary, I can say is our competitor is performing well. Oberlink is performing better, is performing better, students. Understand that clearly. Students, any questions you like to ask, you can ask. If you are fine with that, we are done with the financial analysis on today's class. On the next class, we will do the strategy canvas and get the clarity of the organizations. And then we can start working on the questions and the technical classes. Thank you, students. Translation expenses. They have not given anything with regards to that. I don't think we have a translation reserve also for the time being. Okay, students. So thank you very much, students. Take care, students.